Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I thought I would do something different and do a commentary or a reaction to the Jack Doherty arrest. For those of you that don't know, Jack Doherty is a YouTuber. He's a prankster. He's done videos in the past on skipping school and pranks on his family and public pranks and things like that. I used to watch him quite a bit when I was in high school, but when I was in college I decided I don't really like him as much because I feel like he just often antagonizes people and does stuff that he gets arrested for, and just a lot of it isn't really cool. So recently he got arrested for drug possession and for resisting an officer's arrest or orders, and the Law and Crime Network did a really great video on it, and I thought that I would review that for you guys. So here goes, and give my thoughts on it. So here it goes.
Being arrested over the weekend for
what? No.
That's YouTuber Jack Doherty being arrested over the weekend for blocking traffic and drug possession in Miami Beach.
Go to the sidewalk now. You want to go with him? Go to the sidewalk now.
The arrest.
So this guy is immediately doing what a lot of these First Amendment auditors, sovereign citizens, whatever do. I don't think that's what they are, but pulling out and filming cops when they're clearly not doing anything unlawful. I mean, you have that right, but a lot of times it does seem like people are just kind of, I don't know, looking for trouble, I guess.
Through a crowd, armed with cell phones ready to record all of it, and police body-worn cameras were also recording. I'll tell you all about it, and how this isn't Doherty's first time getting into a little bit of trouble.
It's definitely not his first time.
Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. You know, Jack Doherty, he's a big YouTuber. He's 22, and he has a huge following on YouTube and other social media.
He's only a year younger than I am.
Platforms. On YouTube alone, he has more than 15 million subscribers. Morning. Jack Doherty made social media news for another reason.
Hey, yo, you always gonna need him. Back up. I'm just saying, back up. Don't worry about it. Back up. Back up. Go to the sidewalk. Go to the sidewalk now. Go to the sidewalk now. You want to go with him? Go to the sidewalk now. Okay.
You can hear Jack in the background just arguing with the cops when he's blocking the street and is very clearly being given a lawful order. Like, move the fuck out of the way. It's the cops doing their job. A lot of people my age don't seem to get that. You don't have the right to block the street. They have the right to clear the street when you're blocking traffic.
Now.
Police in Miami Beach took Jack Doherty into custody. In a post on Facebook, the PD wrote, "We don't bet on public safety." This morning at approximately 3:12 a.m., Miami Beach police officers arrested Jack C. Doherty, age 22, after he intentionally stepped into the middle of Washington Avenue to film content, blocking traffic and creating a dangerous situation for drivers and himself. Despite multiple lawful commands to clear the roadway, Doherty refused to comply, responding, "Once I'm done with this bet."
He was gambling or something, making some kind of bet. You don't do that. Like, he has this attitude, as others have said, that like Brad Palumbo, who I often watch, who said that he kind of has this attitude. He's just an influencer. He doesn't have to follow laws. That's not how it works.
Taken into custody without incident, and a search revealed suspected amphetamine and cannabis. MBPD remains committed to maintaining public safety and order throughout the city. Our officers will continue to take proactive enforcement action against behavior that endangers motorists, residents, or visitors, and will hold all individuals accountable under the law, regardless of their celebrity status.
I really love this post from the Miami Beach PD. I actually shared it on social media with some of my friends, and and they all liked it as well. I think the drug possession charges are BS. You know, the war on drugs has been a giant failure. He shouldn't get any kind of jail time or even criminal charges for that. Unfortunately, that is the law. But, you know, I would like to see some kind of consequences. I'm torn on incarceration, but I would like to see some kind of consequences for his little fit that he had with the cops here.
I don't think you understand, man.
Oh, good. Do we choose
There's
to
some
pick
money.
it off and give it to someone? We don't know you keep it off like that. You want to
No, we're good.
Can I take it off?
I'll take it right away.
It's fine. You have to like slide it off your wrist. Like, I can't take it off anyway.
Sorry.
Excuse me. Can I take it
I
off?
think it's just a little bit, only a little bit. That's fine. Thank you. Do you have any narcotics or anything on you?
No, sir.
Hold it, narcotics.
Huh?
Why don't you stop? I'm gonna check you again at the jail.
All right.
All right. Get it?
Yes.
Wait, can I take my watch to someone or no?
What is? I need to
No,
watch.
but you have to like untake. You have to.
I got you.
Yeah, thank you. Can you tell him to pull up here, my friend, so we can put it on his
By
wrist?
the way, what do I say, man?
If I real tight, just get off. Back up. Go, back up. Go.
What is he doing playing on his fucking iPhone when the cops are? He's like, hold on, you can't arrest me. I'm a YouTuber. What a little bitch.
Chill. Go to sidewalk now. Go to sidewalk now. You want to go with him? Go to sidewalk now.
And this guy who just refuses to leave to go onto the sidewalk.
You are, bro. No, you're not. I do. Who the are you, bro?
I was trying to walk up the street.
Doesn't matter, bro. All you have to do is get in the sidewalk. That's it.
So Jack Doherty was booked into the Miami-Dade County Jail. Definitely not fun, but it makes for good fodder for social media. So in typical influencer fashion, Doherty took to social media to make light of his arrest. After his release from jail on Saturday night, Jack Doherty posted on X, "I'm free," with a photo of arms breaking free from chains. A little bit dramatic.
He's not actually free. This hasn't gone to court yet. There's going to be a trial. He's just out on bail. The cash bail that he got was very low. I'm skeptical of cash bail altogether, but given the circumstances, I'm kind of surprised how low it was.
Spoke to NBC Miami outside the jail to tell his side of the story.
There was no traffic. It was 3 a.m, I think they just wanted to lock me up, but fair enough, learn my lesson.
Doherty told the reporter that he regretted how he handled the incident, and he posted his mugshot on X with the caption, "First day out." Then he streamed on Party with rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine and posted videos on X that showed them together and with him wearing a t-shirt with his mugshot on it.
I guarantee that whatever does happen to him, he's not going to learn anything from this. He's just going to go back to doing more things that will get him arrested, also that he can get more views and subscribers, and it's just going to create a nuisance for everyone around him, make it harder for him to get a job if he has a criminal record, if the YouTube thing doesn't work out in the future. He's really making some big mistakes here, and he's not taking it seriously at all. So I really doubt that, the prison or whatever he gets, it's going to teach him a lesson and teach him not to do it again. I don't think that's what's going to happen here.
Nah, you ain't lying. I had to get him to the home. No, I can't hold the gun.
So he's having a little bit of fun with this after his arrest. I assume he's also going to make a YouTube video out of this whole thing. Now, this isn't the first time that Doherty's antics have gotten him into a little bit of trouble.
Help! Break the window! Oh!
Doherty was live streaming on Kick in October 2024 when he crashed his $200,000 McLaren. That nonsense got him banned from that platform. He was criticized at that time for being more concerned about his car than his photographer, who was bleeding from the head. At least that's what people thought. Jack Doherty became popular.
It's definitely Jack Doherty's personality. He doesn't seem to care much about other people or have any sense of empathy or just understanding of other perspectives. The fact that he cared more about his fucking car than the guy who was working with him here.
All right, so to talk about this, I want to bring in somebody who's dealt with a case or two in his time. He is Philip Dubé, and he used to work as court-appointed counsel out in Los Angeles County. So he's used to dealing with a lot of people. This is not the kind of case, though, where somebody would have court-appointed counsel, since this kid has a lot of money. So, Philip, you're used to dealing with people who, need help getting out of pickles. I feel like the most serious charge that this Jack Doherty has going on right here is this F3, this possible, controlled substance possession of amphetamine. And I say possible because they're still going to.
Under the law and how it's written, that's the most serious, but given the circumstances, it's not at all the most serious.
Have to test it to make sure, yes, indeed, is suspected. It is indeed amphetamine. So what do you do with this case if it lands in your lap as a defense attorney?
Well, first of all, there are many defenses to it. When people hear the word or the term amphetamine, they automatically think of an illicit drug. But the truth is, it's a very commonly prescribed stimulant. For example, with kids who have ADD, ADHD, the first thing that I would do as his counsel is I would sit him down and say, hey, do you have a prescription? Do you have ADD, ADHD? Are you in the care of some kind of a doctor to help you control your thinking and your reasoning? If he has a prescription, you could have a free-floating pill in your pocket without the actual pill bottle and the prescription label on it, as long as you have a prescription from a doctor. That's a defense, and then the charge should outright be dismissed because it's lawfully possessed. But let's assume the worst, okay? Because that's when you always need counsel. In Florida, it is a felony. It could be filed as a felony that carries up to 5 years if you're in possession, unlawful possession of amphetamine.
Given that there was also weed, I'm guessing, it's probably illegal, but I'm not entirely sure.
But all is not lost because Florida is, I don't know if I want to call it necessarily a merciful state, but they are understanding when it comes to first-time drug offenders. So they have a diversion program for people who qualify based on their record and their willingness to get some help. If you participate in a court-approved program, you can get the whole thing thrown out. It's as if it never happened.
I think that's actually a really good thing that we should have more of in the U.S. are drug courts where if you're caught with possession, or not necessarily possession, but if you commit some sort of non-violent crime like petty theft or vandalism or public intoxication, if you're a first-time offender, you go through a drug court. It's mandatory treatment. It's very structured. I think they try to help you if you're having trouble with employment, you can, the drug court is very structured and tries to help you recover by, addressing all these things in your life that are leading to the drug use. And it does, from what I've read, seem to have pretty good results and leads to lower recidivism than just sticking them in jail. So I think that's something we need more of.
But you have to follow through. If he agrees to do the program and doesn't follow through, then he can end up going to trial on this or end up having to take a deal. And he certainly doesn't want a felony on his record over one pill.
Saying maybe it was legally prescribed for one of those conditions.
Right. It's my understanding that whenever they seize any type of drug from an arrestee, from a suspect, and it's in pill format, it goes to the lab. They're not looking for the brand name of the pill. They're looking to see if there is an illegal active ingredient in it. In this case, it would be amphetamine. But standing alone, it's not illegal if you can show that it's tied to a prescription drug with other ingredients in it, like Adderall or Dexamine. These are commonly prescribed drugs, particularly for children who have concentration problems, learning difficulties. It kind of grounds them and helps them concentrate and learn better. And frankly, it wouldn't surprise me at all if this young man has got some type of attention deficit. And then he is adding to the mix the cannabis and the marijuana and the reefer and all that kind of stuff. He is self-medicating. But my gut tells me that there is a prescription floating out there for the amphetamine.
For some reason, I'm getting the sense that that's not the case, although I could be wrong. He seems like someone who would abuse these kind of drugs. I don't know why. He just gets that kind of vibe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's move on now to, it's a misdemeanor,
Yeah.
The possession of cannabis.
Yeah.
The cops say they found 3, marijuana cigarettes. That's what they called them. Cigarettes, joints. I'll call it a joint. They were joints they found on him, allegedly. So obviously, anymore, it seems like I'm actually shocked this was still a crime in Miami Beach because it seems like there's this big push in many areas of the country to legalize certain quantities of marijuana. So this seems like something that, I don't know, this doesn't seem like it's going to go very far. I could be wrong about that.
Well, this is in an area of Florida called Hialeah, which is Miami-Dade, that sort of area. And I cannot believe that there's not more activity going on or more crime, that they had to have 12 cops converge upon this kid. They had to send F-Troop, only really to recover a pill and some shake, as we call it, or kush here, which is, loose leaf marijuana. It's kind of...
He's got a good point, but they probably sent the cops because he just wasn't fucking cooperating.
I actually think that the greater offense for him, the most disruptive one, was the resisting in the middle of the street. Because that really caused a ruckus out there, holding up traffic. You had to send officers out there to get him out of the way so they could free up traffic. That one is actually a lot worse, and I think society would be much more aggravated by that than him having a little dope in his pocket.
Well, yeah, it's Miami Beach police. They're the ones who arrested him.
I certainly think that way.
And they say they're so mad because they told him to get out of the street several times.
Yeah.
And according to this police report, even members of his group said to him, come on, man, get out of the street. Like, just get out of the street. Listen to the cops. And he refused to do it, according to what the police report says.
Oh, I didn't realize that the other people weren't really doing that. I mean, there was the one kid who almost got arrested.
And so the cops don't like that when you don't listen to them. It doesn't matter if it's 3 a.m. or not. They're out patrolling. The bars are probably getting ready to close up, and he wants to go out and film some content with his team, with his buddies. He wants to do some videos, and he probably wants some cool shot where he's standing out in the middle of the street, and the cops are like, "You can't do that. Get out of the street." And he doesn't want to listen. And so there's cameras everywhere, and of course the cops have their body-worn cameras on, and we've seen that. I mean, that to me is like just kind of absurd because the kid's got 15 million YouTube subscribers. He's got enough money that he could probably.
One of my friends from work said, he's really gotten famous for no good reason at all. I mean, he's just obnoxious. That's why I stopped watching him. I mean, if you guys ever saw his appearances on Dr. Phil, you can tell just how entitled he is, how he doesn't, it's all for the views, and he doesn't care about the negative effects on, his family. His father said, one time, I don't know if it was a joke or not, I'm not going to sacrifice my marriage for your YouTube. Like, it does. What he has done seems to have created some tension in his local community and with, his family at times and his school. And yeah, eventually I just stopped watching him.
Have gone down to the Miami Beach City Hall or wherever and gotten a permit to do this or something. You know what I mean?
Well, the kid has a superiority complex. He thinks because he's drawn all these viewers to watch his social media content that he can call the shots everywhere in life. You can't just go out into the street or out on the sidewalk and control the narrative out there merely because you are a social media personality. You are still subject to the laws, the municipal ordinances, and the jurisdiction of the state of Florida. And if you think you're going to overcome that just by showing a YouTube
We are a nation of laws, not of men.
clip, he's, mistaken. Sometimes there are just hard lessons to learn for young people who get arrested and get into trouble. On a personal level, if I were his counsel, look, it's not the crime of the century. It's pretty timid, mild type crime. But you certainly don't want this to escalate and be a gateway to greater crimes because this young man, if he doesn't knock it off, he could end up on the road to perdition. He really needs to stop and grow up.
Yeah, and he's already had this.
does seem to have gotten worse and worse over time if you look at his videos.
You know, he had this wreck in October of 2024. He is live streaming on a platform, and I'm just kind of like, whoa. Like, anytime you're live streaming and driving, you're just, to me, asking for trouble. It just seems really, really not, it just does not seem wise. And, you know, he's got a photographer with him, and he hydroplanes, and he wrecks his car. It's a really pricey car, $200,000 car. And he's, like, worried about, you know, getting a shot, you know, getting the shot. And apparently his photographer's got blood coming out of his head, and it's like, where are our priorities
Isn't that fucked up?
here? So I don't know. Maybe this becomes a wake-up call. You would think maybe. I mean, you mix a young guy, impulsive, lots of money, lots of adulation from fans on social media. To me, that can be a recipe for disaster, because you're not going to learn any tough lessons that way. Maybe this is the tough lesson. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you remember Evel Knievel?
As I said, it's definitely not going to be. He's going to not get anything from this. He's going to get out. You saw with his tweet, you know, I'm free, and with his shirt, like, he's not taking this seriously at all. You know,
the stunt driver on the motorcycles, for whatever reason, he just was really drawn to these types of thrill-type acts. A misdemeanor, and you do it again, it could end up being a felony. If you're going to just constantly rise to the occasion and take on the cops, they are always going to prevail and take you down. So hopefully this was a lesson for the young man, and he can move on.
Yeah, let's hope it was a lesson. I just want to read from the police report, because, I mean, they warned him. They warned him more than once. I just want to read this really quickly. Yeah. Officers warned him that failure to comply would result in arrest. So they said, we're going to arrest you if you don't listen to us. And the defendant replied, once I'm done with this bet. And the listed officers then safely apprehended the defendant in the middle of the roadway due to his deliberate refusal to follow lawful orders and continued obstruction of. He sits in jail. He calls it like the worst day of his life, sitting in jail. I'm sure it was. Yes. You know, when he's driving around in sports cars and he's got this like really plush, cushy house in Florida. I'm sure sitting in the pokey was no fun for this kid.
Yeah. Well,
and then he gets out and he's like playing around with a rapper on this.
I can see that it definitely. I can see, you know, wasn't surprised the way he really complained about that and said it was the worst day of his life, because he said, you know, comes across as someone who's just kind of been spoiled and got what he wanted, and you know, and this is what happens when you have to learn the hard way in life, you know.
Tekashi 6ix9ine on videos, you know, on Party, and putting that on X. I'm just like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this kid learns a lesson, maybe he doesn't.
Well, sometimes along with fame, fortune, attention, also comes a little humility. And hopefully this will kind of take him down a few notches, and he learns to grow up, and he realizes that you can still have fame, fortune, without notoriety in the negative sense. No longer a hero or an icon in the social media influence world.
I think that was actually kind of what happened with me is, you know, I saw the stuff he's done and gotten arrested so many times, and just quickly, you know, making a scene when he's out in public and bothering people. And I just, you know, there's a lot, that's something that's unfortunately common among many YouTubers and pranksters in particular, and those aren't the kind of pranksters I like. You know, the ones I like are Magic of Hot, whose pranks are about making people laugh, and you know, magic tricks that they don't even know is a magic trick, and you know, things that aren't meant to embarrass or cause harm. Those are the kind of pranks I like, you know. And it's like my grandparents say, you know, like when watching a prank, you know, I try to consider, you know, would I like it if the same thing is done to me? And in many of these cases, I simply wouldn't. With Jack, that is.
You come off really as scofflaw.
Yeah, it's not a good look. It's just, it really isn't. And he may be a nice guy too. He seems like, you know, when he's talking to his mom on the videos, you know, seems like a nice enough kid. So we'll see what happens. He'll be in court in January for this, so a little ways off. Philip Dubé, thank you so much.
Take care now.
So much for the right to a speedy trial in the U.S. Yeah, you guys already saw the footage, so that's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed my commentary or reaction to it. More videos definitely coming out soon. And yeah, thanks for watching, everyone.